So today I just wanted to share a number of suggestions, tips as it pertains to being well and maintaining your emotional wellness. Good afternoon. My name is Judith Rapley, and I am the principal coach and founder of JMR Coaching and Consulting Services. I consider myself and serve my community as an emotional wellness coach and licensed psychotherapist in the state of New York. We are in some very interesting and for some very troubling times. We are in the midst of a global pandemic. And so as an emotional wellness coach, my task, my service to my community, both my clients and to my general community, is to support them as to how to stay less anxious, how to manage themselves, how to maintain possible emotional wellness at a time like this. First of all, we want to start with the fact that we are all experiencing this time in a different way. How we experience this current moment is dependent on so many factors, whether it be race, whether it be our socioeconomic backgrounds, our work statuses and situations. Each of us, in some way or the other, are experiencing and are impacted differently. So my heart first goes out to those who have been and have experienced major loss, especially the loss of loved ones. The Bible tells us that we ought to grieve with those who grieve and celebrate with those who celebrate. So my heart grieves for those who have lost loved ones, for those who have lost perhaps their source of income, and for those who have lost connection in some way, form, or fashion. First thing I would like to recommend is that we ought to be mindful of what we let in. There's so much information abounding. If you look at any TV show, if you look at the news, there's information that is being put forth every day on social media, on every platform that is possible. We're hearing continuously about this current experience. And some of that information can be worthwhile and helpful. But my recommendation to us at this time is to be very mindful as to how much we let in, what we let in, who we let in at a time like this. Other than that, we run the risk of becoming overwhelmed, conflicted, or possibly even consumed. And any of those possibilities can impact how we're able to tolerate, manage, and be able to see through this time. The second thing I would want to recommend to us is to get what you need. As I said earlier, we're each different, right? Some people in this time, they're very excited about completing major projects, completing the things that they have put away for a long time, resuming new hobbies. Others are starting new opportunities, new jobs, and that is fantastic. However, the error we run in trying to do the same thing everyone is doing, or in pursuing that go-getter Protestant ethic of being preoccupied or occupied with being busy at this time, in my opinion, is that we run the risk of not allowing ourselves rest, not allowing ourselves time to take care of ourselves, not allowing ourselves time to connect with those in our home, or even those who may be around us we may not have been in contact with for a while. But this might be the perfect opportunity when we have all been forced in some ways to slow down, to connect and reconnect. And last, we're not sure exactly when this might end. Some have called this the new normal. I choose to call it simply our present reality. So we don't know what else is to come. My suggestion is that at this time, we open up our eyes to the possibilities and we embrace all the opportunities that may come out of this time. Opportunities to connect further with ourselves, opportunities to connect further with God, opportunities to connect further with our loved ones. And along the way, if there are other things that God brings our way, let us open our eyes to those possibilities, because I believe that our God is constant. I believe that our God is faithful. I believe in spite of what we're seeing, the loss, the grief, the sadness, even at times for some, the helplessness or the hopelessness, I believe that we have not lost hope, that God is still in control. My recommendation to you is to embrace it. Embrace this time. Seek others, connect with others, and take advantage of what is in front of us. Again, God is ultimately in control. I suggest to you that as you take care of yourself, by being mindful of what you let in, getting what you need, and keeping your eyes open to the possibility and having a patient endurance at this time, you will be able to make it through this. You'll be able to survive and possibly even be able to thrive. At At 16 years old, I had the blessing and the privilege of coming to Start Lake Camp with the Salvation Army. Somehow, some way, application had been sent out to Panama. One day while sitting at the benches of Start Lake Camp in New Jersey, this gentleman, his name is Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth, came and sat next to me and began to have a conversation. And we began to build a rapport, and he came to know my story about me, about my family, about where I was in life. At that time, I was getting ready to finish my last year of high school. I started attending college in Panama my first year. And that became very problematic because I had to travel about 2 hours, at least 3 or 4 times a week to the university and back. In conversation with Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth, I mentioned that I was interested in going to school in the United States. Well, suffice to say that Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth did everything in his power, turned everything upside down. And 1 week before classes were due to start, the year that I entered Houghton College, there I was at Houghton College. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. I cannot tell you the many miracles that were worked out, immigration-wise, and in so many other ways, financial-wise. But I just wish to share that the interest and the steps of one person, the prayer of my parents, and the persistence of my community in Panama were the conduits to me being here in the United States and coming to Houghton all the way from Colón in the Republic of Panama. My most exciting, fun experience that I had at Houghton was sliding down the back hills of Houghton, yes, on trays, on one of the most snowy days. Now imagine, I have lived in many Caribbean islands, Panama, Jamaica, Trinidad, because my parents are missionaries. And it was for me just exhilarating, even though I know we weren't supposed to be doing it. But it was exhilarating to be sliding down those hills on the back hills of Houghton College and trace. That was one of the most exhilarating experiences that I had at Houghton. Houghton College also gave me the ability to think about my experience and think about my contribution to the rest of the world. So whether it was those specific individuals, whether it was the ability to learn about the nuances of the world, I came into Houghton wanting to be as a psychology major. And again, for people like Professor Conklin, who was the head of the sociology department, began to open up my worldview. So I moved from a major in psychology to a double major in sociology to a social work degree at Columbia University many years later. The compilation of those experiences, having individuals who showed me that we can get involved, that we can be present for others, that there are others who may be working in order to support others, that we can support them, and that we can be examples for them in some way or fashion. That has in some way encouraged me, inspired me, and has lit the fire for me to be present for others as a coach and as a therapist.